I dedicate this video to a group of refugees that I had the pleasure of training in becoming a software engineer. They all asked if I could do a video about this topic, and of course I'm more than willing to explain this. When I train new software engineers on how to use GitHub, I noticed that getting to apply the theory into practice in a team project is quite hard. In this video, I will show you in a practical way how you can work together using GitHub. I will demo this using JetBrains Rider, but all JetBrains products look the same. So if you are, for instance, using IntelliJ, you will find this workable as well. If you're using Visual Studio, then there will be another video about this topic, demoing it in Visual Studio. And what I won't cover in this video is how to work with pull requests, because I will focus on that part in yet another video. Well, enough said about what we want to do. Let's dive into some GitHub integration. I have created a project in Rider. I want to add this project to GitHub. As you can see in the top, this code is not under source control yet. I could use a two-step approach by first adding the project to Git and then share it on GitHub. But Rider is quite capable of doing this in one step. But there's one step I need to take before I upload my sources to GitHub, and that is that I do need to have a git ignore file for all the files that I don't want under version control. Well, of course, I could come up with a version control file on my own, but it's quite easier to simply use one that is available online. So I will go to the website on GitHub that contains a lot of git ignores, and then I have to find the git ignore that is applicable to me. Well, since this is a version in .NET, I'm going to use the template for the git ignore from Visual Studio. And if I want to add some things for Rider specific, I can do that to this one. Of course, if you're using a different language, a different programming language, then please pick the one that is applicable to you. So I'm going for the Visual Studio git ignore, and I'm going to download the raw file from this. And then I'm going to save it. And what I now have to do is, of course, is move this file to the correct folder. In my Rider environment, I go to my solution and I simply go here and I say open in Explorer. Now the project will be opened in the correct place. So all I now have to do, if I have a different Explorer that I can open up, and if I go to the downloads folder, I can pick the git ignore here and simply copy and paste it to this folder. And of course, I do need to change the name, so I am going to rename it into the default git ignore. Okay, so now my git ignore is in place and it will be available and viewable by Rider. Okay, with git ignore in place, I still can do some things, and that's quite specific for Rider, because I normally don't like the ID files to be included. So what I normally do is I do exclude the IDE files as well. So I'm going to save my git ignore, and now I'm finally here so that I can push it to GitHub. So I go to version control, share project on GitHub. You will see that my account information is loaded, so my Rider instance is already connected to my GitHub account. Should that not be the case for you, you will see here add an account option so that you can actually add it. Well, you do see I've got a private here, so I want to push it to public. So I will get demo GitHub Rider. Okay, and I'll push it to the origin and I'm going to share it. Oh, this one is already taken, that's not a problem.
So I will use this one from Rider. Perfect. Share it. And now connection is made to GitHub. You will see that all the files that will be pushed to GitHub are visible here. And if you are aware of what the things are, you do know that there is a lot of things that are not visible, that are not included. So the initial commit, I think it's okay. I'll simply push add. So it's pushing it, it's committing it, it's pushing it to main. And let's wait a while. Okay, and then you see that's shared on project. And if I click on the link, you will see this project that it's available inside of GitHub. So this code is ready to go so that my team can work on it. Before I continue in Rider, let's first update the repository on GitHub. And let's do that by not really changing code, but simply to add a README file to it. So I'm going to add a README file and simply go, this is an example project to show you how to work with GitHub and Rider, and I'll simply say, well, I'm going to commit the changes. Okay, create commit changes directly to the main branch. I'm fine with it. And so now my main branch has been changed.
Well, suppose that I am a developer on the project team and I want to start working on a new feature. And to be quite honest, I don't know for sure how my status is on my local main compared to the remote. So the first thing that I should do before I do anything else is in my main simply say choose update project, so that I will get all the changes that have been made and pushed to the remote to my local main branch, because it's still Git, so all the changes are part of my local repository as well. So, well, suppose that I am a second developer on the team and I want to start working on our team project. And I haven't had a chance to get the source code yet. So I started out with JetBrains Rider. And what I can do now is, of course, I could open it up without any code, but I can go directly here for clone repository. So you can see what will happen. I can select my GitHub. I will see, okay, what do I have? And let's simply... Okay, here's developer 1 again. I had to be in a meeting I didn't want to be in, but I had to be in it anyway. So I came back to my desk and I want to continue to do my work. And I think, well, I'm ready with this one and I'm quite able to push it to the remote. So what I could do, I'm on my own branch, so what I will do is simply say, well, I want to commit the things. So what you will see, has changed my index. Okay, and I can update, my welcome message. And I could even say commit and push, because I'm going to push it to my own branch. Okay, you will see that the head does change. I do here see the update welcome message. I say push the change. And now my remote contains all these changes. But I would love to merge these changes into main again. But there's one small thing that is going on. The main has been changed. So what I have to do is first go to my main and check it out. And wait for it to be loaded again. Okay, the first thing that I should do if my remote main has been changed and I want to merge the changes back into main is, of course, first update my main project, and I will simply say merge incoming changes. That will pull all the changes from developer 2 into my local code base. So just wait for it, and updating project, and it's now ready. So to be sure, if I go to views and if I go to privacy, we will see the changes made by developer 2, and if I go to index, I will see these changes. But what will happen if I switch back to my own page, of course, you will see that the privacy is still, just have to wait for it. You will see that the privacy is still the old one and the index only contains my changes. So I have some changes on the main, I have some changes here. So one of the best things to do, if I simply go to my own page, I could say, well, I do a new branch. That's not what I'm going to do, not what I want to do. Well, let's switch to main. And what I can do is here merge main into this branch. And that's what I want to do, because I want to push all the changes, or actually pull all the changes from main into my branch to make sure that my work does not conflict with the other work. But you will see that there is a problem, because I did make 2 changes on the home screen. Okay, what I could do is I could simply say, well, accept yours or accept theirs, but we're not going to do that. I'm going to put in a merge, because we do want to keep both things. So what we will see, this is the update homepage, so my changes. These are the one coming from main. So what I want to do is I want to have my changes here from GitHub, and I want to actually pull the changes from the other one, but not this one. So I only need this one. So what will the result be? I will have the welcome from GitHub, and I will have the altered link from the main. Okay, so I've now fixed it. So what I can say, I can apply the changes. Now you will see merging update. So you will see that I have a merge here. Okay, that means that all my changes are now part of, all the changes in main are now part of my changes as well. So what I should do is simply say, well, I want to commit the changes, but there are no changes to commit. I could commit and push, but there's still nothing to push. What I could do is simply push the commits, because there are some commits, but there are no changes directly to the files. Based on these 2, I'll simply say push. So what will happen now? My remote will get updated. But I do have to do the same thing as I did for developer 2. So I will switch to my main branch and continue what I did before. So it's checking out main. Just to be sure, always update the project first, so that you know that you are up to date with all the changes on the remote. And especially if you have a high performing team, you will get a lot of changes every day. And now what I can do, if I go to this one, merge update homepage into main, and it will start merging it. And now you will see that there is the branch. If it's ready, okay, it's merged again, and you see, well, you could delete the branch delete update homepage. Well, I think that's a good one. And what I now can do, you see there are outgoing commits. I'm simply going to say we're going to push the outgoing commits onto the server. And if we do that now, and if we push, then we will verify what happened on our GitHub. So I'll simply open up my GitHub. I'll go to the home. On the index, you will see this one, you will see this one. In the privacy, you will see this one. So this is the way that you can actually start working on a project with multiple developers. As long as you do not touch the same file, you won't get merge conflicts, but I deliberately pushed a merge conflict. But you can see you do have the option simply to take your own, take the one coming from the remote, or simply say, well, I'm going to merge them together. Okay, that's about all there is to working with GitHub in a team. There's one small caveat to it. You normally would protect your main so that you can't directly push to main. Why is that? Because main is very important. I don't want code to be pushed to it. I want to force a code review onto code that gets pushed into main. So that's why you use pull requests, but that's a topic for another video. Well, I hope this helps. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And of course, if you like this video, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Well, happy coding! See what we have got, and this was the GitHub from Rider. Okay, this is the one that I want, so I normally put it in my source folder, and what I will do is I'll simply say it will be my second dev. For Git, you can clone the same repository from the remote into different folders, and for Git it will be different versions. Okay, I want this one. I wanted to put it in there, so now I can simply say, well, I want to clone it, and now it will start cloning the repo and opening up the source code locally on my machine. Yes, I always get the trust and open issue. And now I'll simply move Rider into the view and make it a bit bigger so that you can see it full screen again. Okay, so what I've now done, you see that it's really a new folder, so I do have to exclude it again. Okay, so now I have a main that is up to date with my remote. But if you look at the different branches, there's only main. And if I look at the remote, you will see that there's only main as well. Because the branch that the first developer created has not been pushed to GitHub yet. So it's not available for any other person who actually wants to clone the repository. Okay, because I did do a new fetch, what I can do now is, of course, create my own feature branch. So what I will say, I want to create a new branch. And what will that branch be called? I do want to update privacy. Okay, and I of course want to check out the branch as well. Okay, just like for developer 1, it takes a bit of time. You can see that there's here update privacy, and if I now go to my views, if I go to my home, you will see that there is a razor file for the privacy, and I can simply update this. This page will contain some text. Okay, so I've made the change that I needed to do, but then again I come across this one and I say, well, you know what, I don't like this and I want to change this to, I want to work here with GitHub. Okay, just to be sure, I'll simply run my application, because that's a good thing to do before you actually push your code to the remote. And simply wait for it, see what happens. It's building. And if I did not screw up, then you will see the running application. Okay, the application has built. It's now starting up. And I can simply drag it into view. And you can see the privacy policy will contain some text. That's what I updated. And if I go to home, you will see that the link has changed as well. Okay, so the changes that I've made do work. So I think, well, that's it. I'm ready for my story. It's time to have weekend. So what I'll simply do, I'll simply stop running my application. And I think, well, let's go to my GitHub. I have two changes. I think, well, great. Put up a commit message, updated my privacy, and it's always difficult to come up with a good one, and what I do, and updated some link. Okay, so what I can now do is two things. I can commit it. That will mean that it will be committed to my local change. And I can show you what will happen if I do that. Oh, of course, I do have to select the changes. If I now commit it, you will see here that in the branch update privacy, I have made a change. Okay, but that still means that it's not available on the remote. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push the change to the remote. So simply press push. And now these changes will be available on my remote GitHub as well. So if I open up a browser and I go to my GitHub and I'm going to check out my repositories, and then you will see this demo GitHub from Rider. What you will see if it's loaded, you will see that there are now two branches, the main and update privacy. Okay, and you will see update privacy has had recent pushes 49 seconds ago. Okay, what I now need to do, because I finished with my task, I want to update the information. And I want to move my changes to the main. So what I want to do, I want to merge my changes into main. Okay, how do I go about it? Well, at first, I've already committed and pushed everything, so there are no changes. So a safe thing to do is simply go to my main, check it out. And the first thing that I want to do is update the project again. Update my main so that I know that my main will contain all the recent changes made by other developers. So I'm going to check update project. I'm going to merge incoming requests. Great. Just wait for it. All files are up to date because we didn't change anything on the remote yet, at least not in the main branch. So what I'm now going to do is what I can do if I go to update privacy. I can say here, merge the update privacy into my main. So there weren't no changes in main, so I'm going to merge it into main, and you will see the status is now updating. And if I go to my view, I'm still on main. So what you will see is that my index does contain the changed link. The privacy statement does contain the altered text. Okay, so that means that I'm up to date, and that means also here one outgoing commit. So what I should do is simply push the change, the merge, onto the remote main. So that's what I'm going to do now. And now the remote main will be up to date with my local version as the second developer. So if I go back to my browser and if I refresh the page, what you will see in my main, it got updated a few minutes ago. And if I go to my views and if I go to my home, if I go to my privacy, you will see that it does contain all the updated information. Okay, so the work for developer 2 has been done, but developer 1 now has some time to start working on the project again. So let's continue the work for developer 1. I will simply say, well, what do I want to do? Do I want to merge or do I want to rebase? Well, I'm going to choose the merge one, and I will let it work. And you do see here that it's fetching the sources, it's updating. And as you can see, we updated the README file directly on the GitHub site, and that's what we see here happening as well. Okay, I'm up to date with my main remote. So now I want to work on one of the features. And of course, I don't want to start changing directly on the main branch because that's the one that contains the working software. So what I want to do is I want to actually create a so-called feature branch from the main branch to start working on it. So I go back to my menu, to the main, and now I can do two things. I can choose here the new branch that will make a new branch based on main, or I could go here for the local main and click it, and then you will see that you will get a new branch from main. So this one is quite explicit. If I choose this one, it will use the current branch, in this case main, as the basis. So we're going simply for the main branch, and I want to name this update homepage. Well, could even use the dashes. That's okay. And what I want to do, of course, is here checkout branch. Checkout branch is like changing a directory. I want to have the new branch my current branch. So I press create. You will see that it's checking out, and you can see that it is worked if you can see the new branch name here. Okay, now my Git is up to date. So what I can do, I can start changing some things. Well, I did say that I want to change the home page. So if I go to my index page, I will hear welcome. And what I'll simply do is welcome from GitHub. Okay, that's everything that I needed to do for my story. But somehow I got distracted and I still need to finish this one. So I will leave it at this point, and perhaps one of my team members will start working on the project as well.
So if I want to start working on my main branch in Rider again, I will have to make sure that I am up to date with the remote.